Hey everyone, it's Sean. I want to talk a little bit about this Athearn subject that's come up lately with their quality control. Athearn's been going through a few things lately. From what I understand, they've released a bunch of people from work and they're getting new people. Um, but I want to talk about some of the issues that are being raised and questions that have come up. As far as a quality standpoint, every manufacturer has its downfall. Some are better than others. But you're going to pay a lot more. Athearn gives a pretty good bang for their buck. A lot of it's simple stuff that can be easily fixed, like just gluing the handrails back on because they pop off, pushing the headlights a little bit further back into their respective places, or just little things that you can fix yourself relatively easy and inexpensively. Now, some of the bigger issues, like with the new GP60M release, where it doesn't work at all, or you have to hardwire a decoder into there because it wasn't built the way it should have been, well, that's an issue that Athearn really needs to address. That's a whole lineup of locomotives. I know there's a big thing with the GP38s that were released a while ago. Some of you who follow my YouTube page might know that I have a video out that discusses the issue, because I had the same problem with all kinds of stuff going wrong. It went back and forth between Athearn and myself multiple times. We had some unpleasant phone calls, and frankly, I wasn't very happy with them. So this video is just going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of Athearn. Cons, I mean, obviously, everyone's been talking about them. There's a lot of issues with details coming off, damaged items in the mail, stuff like this grill on this engine doesn't sit down all the way. It pops off relatively easy. I mean, just drop a glue, we'll fix that. Drop a glue will put just about anything back into its place. But I want to talk a little bit more about the positive side of Athearn. I've spent a lot more money on some locomotives and gotten a lot less. I've got a Tower 55 ES44 DC where one of the ditch lights is sunk down into the plastic. Mind you, I can turn the power on here. And these things aren't exactly the best. I mean, the light shines through the plastic because of thin paint or not enough paint. Shines through some of the cracks where it's obvious that there's light shining through it, and it is very clear that it's a model. I don't think you'd be able to take a very good picture of this at night to make it and try to make it look like a prototype. It would be clear that it's a model, but it happens. I mean, it's something I paid maybe $130, $150 for. But Athearn makes a lot of stuff that nobody else does. They make the CF7, the SD45-2, F40 and the F and FP45s. It's just something you have to deal with. Whether you return it, fix it yourself, have someone else fix it, whatever happens, I mean, give them feedback. Don't just bitch them out because they screwed up. I mean, they all screw up. I've had problems, big problems with Exact Rail, Fox Valley, and just with quality issues. Either paint's missing, parts are damaged, the car's not fully assembled, whatever it is. They all have issues. But for the bulk of it, Athearn puts out a lot of stuff and a lot of variety. And they don't ask a whole lot of money for it. I mean, you can go buy an SD40 from Athearn for $120 or $130, or you can go buy one from Cato for another extra $40 or $60, whatever it is now. Or even Intermountain now, they offer them. But as far as I know, they're all a bit more expensive. And frankly, I just assumed buy the Athearn. This particular model right here, this RS3 from Milwaukee Road from Athearn, I have over 200 hours of operating time on that locomotive alone. It's on its second set of metal couplers, and its second decoder because it cooked the first one. I was just running it too hard, which is why there's a dimple in the hood here from the heat melting the plastic. It's had a rough life. It's had a long life. It's my number one locomotive I would run back into a burning building for. You just gotta kind of pick and choose your battles. If you don't want to put up with Athearn, find someone else that makes a similar model and change it to suit your needs, or just scratch build it yourself. Someone was building CF7s before. It was a partial kit, or you could buy the kit to change over an F7 or a GP7 or whatever. But I'm sorry, Athearn just puts out way too much stuff, I think, for many, if not most of us, to stop buying from them. They're coming out with the GP7U. They have some very particular freight cars and locomotives out there that, frankly, unless they did something significant to screw up, I think I'd just keep buying from them. All I can say is complain to them, send them an email, talk to them at the shows, whatever. But if you don't say something to them about it, nothing's going to happen. Just say, hey, I fixed the issue, but I keep having a recurring problem with handrails breaking or parts missing or whatever. You gotta let them know. I mean, Athearn's been going through a lot of stuff lately, and you just gotta kind of roll with the punches. A lot of people I know can fix these issues themselves. I end up gluing handrails back on and getting headlights put back in, and when I get the DCC installed, there's just a lot of stuff that you just gotta deal with. I mean, Atlas has them, Kato has them, everybody has them, and you gotta just deal with it. I mean, if you don't want to deal with it, don't buy it. But I mean, it's part of the hobby. I mean, they're supposed to be ready to run models, but as someone did comment, the RTR should stand for ready to repair. But if you think about the adventure these guys go on between when they're manufactured in China or wherever, and then they're shipped here, they get banged around a lot. If you ever see how they handle intermodal containers, how they UPS or FedEx or whoever in the post office handle packages, getting shipped around and the pallets moved and all this other stuff, they get beat up a lot. They get a lot of vibration, and that cheap plastic container doesn't always hold them the best. So it's kind of it's a double-edged blade. You get a lot of stuff at a good price, and it's easy. Usually, it's easy enough to repair, but you shouldn't have to be repairing it. It's been said a million times before, but you know what? It's part of the hobby. Just kind of do what you can. From my understanding, at least when I was dealing with my GP38 and a few of my other engines, especially this guy, I went to put a decoder in and I yanked the headlights through the cab. It was a simple mistake. The wires for the lights are short. They're being fed through a longer path, and I accidentally ripped them out, just pulling the shell off. I didn't even pull it that far. I told the guy at Athearn, I said I had a problem. I put the DCC in, the headlights came out, and I'm having an issue with a couple of parts that aren't glued on. And he said, well, send it in. It'll be about a month or so. And so I did. I sent it in. I ended up getting it back in 3 weeks. I was just polite and nice to the guy. He fixed the headlights. He fixed the other issues. And up and away I went. I mean, it's just something, you got to go through the motions to take care of. It happens with everything. If you've noticed with all the recalls on cars and trucks lately, it's happening everywhere. It's called business. You try to make a profit. The more you make, the more you get. A lot of people are in it just for that. It's not that difficult anymore. There are places doing 3D printing. If you really want to make a splash, start your own business. Outsource to some company like Fox Valley or Athearn or Atlas for motors and drives, and then get some molds and make your own models. Have it assembled in the USA or assemble it yourself, or build a kit. I mean, it's not as hard as people think. I know several people who own small businesses who do just that. And they don't do it for the money. They do it because they enjoy it, and they enjoy providing a quality service. So, but I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want this video to drag on too long. But just keep that thought in mind. Yeah, Athearn has their issues, but where else are you going to go for some of this stuff? Is it really, worth putting this big fight up over? Or is it easier to just fix it and get over it? Just spend more time enjoying the hobby and talk to Athearn, tell them what your issue is, and hopefully they'll help you out. But that's it for this this video. I guess my parting thoughts are just try to enjoy it more. Be glad you're able to get what you want, and if it's just something simple, try to fix it yourself. If it's a major issue, paint's really screwed up, or there's a serious detail issue, then send it back. Tell them, hey, this is the issue. Take pictures. Make sure you document the damage or whatever, and hold on to that just in case they try to come back at you. But that's it. I hope everyone can enjoy the hobby. I know a lot of places have a lot of things coming out in the next couple of years that I'm really interested in, especially Athearn. But anyways, everyone take care and have a great Labor Day weekend.